Hey everyone, it's Reed here, and you're watching the manifestation of imagination, or I like to call the channel MOI for short. And thank you for coming by here. If you're new here, hit the like button, hit the subscribe, leave a comment. Shoot, even argue with me if you want. People like to argue, that's fine. You're just not for abuse, this is the room for arguments. Abuse is in the room down the street, okay? So go there. Anyways, it's sort of a nice evening here, cooling down, getting everything watered, plants are getting happy. Keep everything on the garden going. Got massive corn growing. I'll show you how that's going. We got some huge corn cobs developing from the blue corn, which I'm looking forward to seeing. Only downside is the mosquitoes are out here. I hate those things. They think I'm filet mignon. I'll be out here and I'll be eating like crazy, just covered head to toe with mosquitoes, going at me like mad. And Lee, I get 1 or 2 bites. What the heck? Why am I the tasty one? Not fair. Not fair. So if there's a mosquito apocalypse, I'm doomed. I'm doomed, I tell you. Anyways, I've been almost slow on videos this week because I had to go into the doctor's. Actually, the hospital part. No, don't worry, nothing horrible, hideous, bad, or really terrifying. They classify it as a surgery, but it wasn't even really a surgery. It's an endoscopy. They go look down your esophagus like that. I have a rare disease, and I have a lot of allergies and all that, and it causes some issues. And we're checking out. I think I've eliminated a lot of allergies. I got a few more left, but they're seeing a lot of improvement. But I had to go in, and they did a check. But the procedure this year, during the great 2020 and the pandemic we got going on, what the heck was that like? Well, here in New Mexico, they still have everything locked down. Our governor thinks it's a brilliant idea that everything needs to be locked down and all this other stuff. So, to get into the doctors, they first required a COVID test. Okay. Now, they decided to do the COVID test where it's just up the nose. And that is a long swab stick. I'm not particularly pleased on that. Gave me a real good tear up in the eye. I was like, oh, whoa. That's pretty deep, yeah. So they do that, it's like that, and I asked them, hey, so, if it comes back as positive, can you do a retest for, a false positive? It's like that. And they're like, no. You have to go quarantine and all that. There's no provision for false positive. Well, I said, but every test has a false positive rate. Yeah, that's true, sir. But they don't have any provisions in that, and the governor doesn't consider it. So by her executive order, if it's positive, they don't care. You go into quarantine, and you're not allowed to get your medical procedures done, and you're just locked down. Okay. All right. Yeah, interesting. So, they have you do the test and all that. So you get there and I get all this stuff and they want the paperwork to prove I got the test, my medication list, all this stuff. And so I'm like there and it's, meet out, you drive up and it's a, drive up and they meet you there. They check your temperature and do everything like that. So you get the COVID test the day before and then you go up and they're like, oh, but you have to have a mask and everything else. But you just checked me for COVID. Well, yeah, but you still could be contagious. But you just checked me for COVID. I mean, yes, there is a false negative rate as well. But anyways, all right. And because I have asthma, pretty bad asthma, I have to be careful about how I breathe and all that. And like my setup for if I need to wear a mask, I deal with dust and all this other stuff. I have an interesting setup with forced air and all that, so I get lots of good air. The whole breathing apparatus. The stuff they're handing out here, it drives my ass up the room. I mean, just absolutely nuts. And they've said, there are no more medical provisions. Everyone wears a mask. Okay, then I'm going to get the thinnest, flimsiest material I can find for a mask. That okay? Yeah, it just says a mask. Okay, fine. All right, good. So I can breathe through it. My asthma's okay-ish. The smoke, the hot and the moisture and all that bugs me. It's why I live in New Mexico. Dry. When I go out to where it's humid, I'm sucking on my inhaler like crazy. It's not good, right? But anyway, so you get the flimsy mask, all right? So we're at the check-in and all this other stuff. And so they're going through the paperwork. Okay, here's your authorization to be seen. Okay, so, do that. That's normal. Okay, now here is the thing where we looked at your COVID test and all that, and we believe you are not positive for COVID, so you're allowed in the facility. That's kind of what the test meant, right? I mean, whatever. It's just paperwork. They just love giving paperwork at these places. All right, and then they're like, hand you this other paper. Okay, now we need to fill out this affidavit. What? Affidavit? Yeah, we're going to have a witness here sign this with you and we're going to go over this. What am I attesting to that I need an affidavit for? No, the affidavit is to say that this is medically necessary and that I have to be here. It's not an optional thing. It's a medically necessary procedure. And this is my attestment that I need this done and it's medically necessary. Otherwise, they're not allowed to do it. Okay. Yeah, I know. I'm thinking to myself, how does this make sense? Shouldn't the doctor be signing off that this is medically necessary and that because of that, we need them to do this and blah, blah, blah. But no, they're giving me the paperwork to sign it. Okay, whatever, I'll read through it, check it out. Okay, yeah, that's basically says sign it, get that done, put it in. Okay, so we go back, they get you done, you set up and all this stuff. And everyone is just covered in, kind of low-grade PPE, stuff like that, until my doctor comes out. All right, he's got this, like painter's respirator mask. And I'm looking at that going, well, you sure got it good. How is it breathing in there? He's all, not too fun. So at least he had humor about it. But in my mind, I'm looking at that thing going, that's the 3M mask I have at home for when I go crawling and digging through stuff and all that. And there's a saturation limit. The mask eventually clogs. You can only have the cartridges exposed to air for so long and all that. And I'm wondering, are they keeping a real good track of that so they're changing them out? And are those NBC rated cartridges? Because the ones he had on his face thing like that didn't look like NBC rated cartridges to me, or at least biologically rated. They just look like the standard charcoal filter that I often use for, dealing with a lot of stuff that deals with smells, stench, the paint, and all that other stuff. And like if it's really, really strong, there's a saturation level, it will still come through. But I guess they figure if you're, wearing a mask, even if it's the flimsiest material I could find, they're going to do that. Now, if you can imagine, though, endoscopy, it's down the throat, they look in the esophagus and all that, so they take the mask off to do the procedure. Okay, yeah. So we go in and then other people have similar masks and stuff like that. They do that. I go in there and they give the injection and all that, and things go fine. But I just thought it was absolutely ridiculous. And so I'm in the recovery room, waking up from the anesthesia, kind of, waking there. And anesthesia and me are kind of weird. Lee can have some nice stories about just how weird anesthesia and I are. It works initially for a little while, but then I wake up. And often I get horrible insomnia from it. I'll be like awake for like days afterwards. And I end up like hyper aware for a while. It's weird. Yeah, she's got some stories about it too. And like sometimes like she's been way more tired than me and she got to rest. But yeah, so the nurse is in there, stuff like that. And I see her and apparently like I kind of aware what she was talking as I was waking up and stuff like that. And she was stuff like that and things. And I said, oh, you don't like the mask, huh? And we started talking about it. So I chatted her up for a while and we were discussing it because we got on about what the biohazard levels for PPE, how they're used, how they're stuff like that, and how what they've just handed out as the procedure said, here, do this, it'll keep you safe, doesn't match up with like if you were actually running a lab, running a biohazard lab and doing stuff. They're not even similar. So if it's that dangerous, wouldn't we be trying to do some of this other? I mean, yeah, I'm gonna go into that eventually. We'll see. They'll probably ask me for dare speaking out. And one of the things I'm really annoyed about all this, honestly, I'm just rant for a little bit here, just a little rant, okay, is everything turned political. All right, and I hate that. I hate that about this because I want real good information about what's going on. I want to be able to look at the risks, decide for myself, and analyze it. Well, the data is politicized in every direction. You got groups pushing for one side, making the data massage it that way. Groups for the other side, pushing to massage the data the other way. Finding accurate, real numbers is you'd be better luck going to a craps table and throwing dice to get your numbers. It's ridiculous. Absolutely nuts. And I'm really annoyed. So it's like, hey, I need this grain of truth. Little tiny grain of truth, but they tossed it in to the frickin' sewer processing plant. So you got to suit up in scuba gear and go dive and wade through all the shit to find the truth. And it's bad. So I've been digging, trying to find information on that, and yuck. So, I'm trying to put some stuff together. I'll probably have to go on BitChute as an exclusive over there because I don't think, as censorship bound as these other platforms have become, I don't think it can live here. So when I get it done as best I can find for what I think is accurate information, we can go over a bunch of this stuff and do some comparison and contrast. I might do the comparison and contrast here because if we just outline comparison and contrast, don't draw any conclusions, don't say anything, just you digest it sort of thing, perhaps it can live on YouTube and maybe it'll be okay here. Some stuff I'm probably going to have to do BitChute exclusives. When we do, I'll let you guys know. We'll put links down in the description and so on and so forth. But yeah. So it's really interesting on that front. And that's what the wonderful time was. But yeah, I talked with this nurse and all that. And like I said, I've been trying to build groups and everything. So got her email address, stuff like that, and sent her an email and starting to communicate. Hopefully add more people to the group, especially more people with medical knowledge is always a plus. I consider it a win. So that's why I was out slow and everything going on. And weird thing, affidavit that you have to sign to go in. Crazy, huh? Take care, everyone. This is Reed, out for now.